text I want to use today comes from 1 Peter 5, verse 5. And this is on the heels of what we've been talking about, predestination, a God who planned out your life before the foundation of the world. And so in 1 Peter 5, verse 5, he says, "Likewise, you younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another, be clothed with humility. For God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time." So how do you humble yourself? Do you walk around all meek and, lowly in life? Well, we don't want to be proud, yet we're confident. We have a boldness, and we should know what we're talking about. Well, verse 7 tells you how to humble yourself by casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. Who? God. The God that drew up the blueprint for your life, that planned your life before the foundation of the world, says, I'll do the caring for you. Philippians 4:7 says, Paul made a statement, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Why? Because he gave Christ all things to work with. He said, I'm going to let you do the caring. I cast all my care upon you. And the more, in this case, unlike a lot of these preachers who put this in the financial realm, the more you give God, the more you get back in return. The more you give him something to work with. And I'm talking about spiritually now, not just financially, which is another story. But casting all your care upon him. Why? Because he wants to do the caring for you. He wants, we think in some cases we have rent payments, people have children, you have cars, and then when you start thinking beyond today, that's the worst case scenario. That's where we start getting ourselves bummed out, down and out, so to speak. And be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, in verse 8, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. Once you've cast your care upon him, it's kind of like taking children fishing. What do children want to do? Do they want to just throw a line out there, or I should say cast the line out there and leave it? No, when they're young, they want to cast. They want to cast. Well, they're not going to catch much because their line isn't going to be in the water very long. Well, as you grow and get older, fishing, you get more proficient at it because of patience, because you're leaving your bait out there in the water. Well, when you cast your care upon the Lord, you're leaving it out there in living waters. He's got something to work with. He's got something to grab hold of and take it for you. He cares for you. The enemy's going to come after you. Even after you cast your care upon him, that's not the end of it. 2 Corinthians 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 4, where he says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God, to the pulling down of strongholds. Casting down. So here we are casting again. Imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So casting your care upon him is one thing. Leaving it there is when you get the results that he intended. And the enemy is going to come at you and try to tell you. And here's a little tidbit, Christians. I know a lot of people, and who hasn't gone through the guilt trip of the past. Every time the devil tries to remind you of your past, just remind him of his future. Because Revelation says he gets chained up and thrown into a lake of fire. Oops. How's that working out for you? But casting down and every high thing. And this is where you need to be vigilant, be sober. The enemy is going to come after you like a flood, because he doesn't want you to experience and get the results from your prayer life. When you pray about something, well, nothing happens. Well, nothing happens because you don't give God something to work with. You don't leave it in his lap. You cast your care upon him, then you take it back and keep looking it over. And then you decide to take it and run with it. True humility is to actually cast your care upon it, leave it there in everything. The Bible says, present yourself a living sacrifice unto God. Give him something to work with. It's like a coach. A coach can look down the bench and go, well, I got guys. I need to put some guys in, but they're not ready. This guy doesn't even have a uniform on. I'm going to call the next. Here's a guy. He's dressed, ready to go. I got someone to work with. Otherwise, he's got nothing to work with. The more you give, the more you cast upon it, the more he can take care of for you. Years ago, 15 years ago, so I had a financial issue, which was my issue. I kept trying to handle it on my own. So my prayer, which right away, oh Lord, I just need more money. Then God's response was different than what I thought it would be. He said, why would I give you more if you can't manage what you got? Holy Nikes. Well, so what do? Well, then I asked for his wisdom. How do I handle the situation? How do we put this behind us and move forward? Oh, well, now I gave him something to work with. Verse 6 of 2 Corinthians 10 here, it talks about, and having in a readiness to revenge or punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. In other words, God can make it right when you're willing to do it his way. Now, I suffered through this financial thing for a long time because I wasn't willing to do it the Lord's way. He wanted to make it right and was in a readiness to do that and to make it, revenge, make it, or punish, let's correct it. But it wasn't until I had a change of heart and was willing to do it his way. And then I said, fine. It was like the old song, a sweet surrender. It was finally like, enough is enough. I'm tired of riding on this not so merry-go-round and getting dizzier and dizzier all the time. And the enemy is you make a decision in life, you decide to step out in faith, well, the enemy is going to try to talk you out of it. He's going to try to paint the worst case scenario. And if you think beyond today, then you're in that realm of imaginations. And that's not where you're going to find God. God's not in the past, and he's not into tomorrow. So you're not going to find peace there. And then the carnal mind is enmity with God. Our carnal minds, I'm my own worst enemy if I try to operate according to my limited carnal mind. Today I'm debt. My wife and I are debt free. And we want to stay that way. Well, we can if we let him be our source. If we're willing to cast all our care upon him and not go beyond today. Anything beyond today is an imagination. You will not find peace there. Well, someday if I had this, or, next week, well, forget about next week. Next week's not here. Let us go. Where's my next? Let's go to Mark 4. And you can read all these chapters on your own. I'm highlighting some of the things that cover our topic, but feel free to go back and read these on your own if you like. And the Lord's explaining in Mark, starting at 4:17, the parable of the sower, and he's talking about the word. And now these are some people that have no root in themselves, in verse 17, and so endure for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. Oh my God, I can't do that. Oh, no, that's no way. No, that's hard. Well, so they're offended. And these are they which are sown among the thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and lusts of other things entering in choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. The cares of this world. Well, the cares of this world couldn't have entered back in unless at one time they were on the outside. So why are they entering back in? Because we weren't on guard. We weren't paying. We were letting our mind wander. We didn't cast all our care and then leave it there. We started to get into the realm of imaginations where God's not operating. And the devil, that's his playground. He'll have a field day with that. He'll beat you up, he'll stomp on you, and he'll leave you for dead when you operate in the realm of imaginations. So the cares of this world, it'll choke the word. And even though we have cast them on the Lord, or say we have to be on guard to leave them there. Forget about it. Forget about those things which are behind. Leave it there. If we want the Lord to fix it, let him do it. When you hire a home builder, if he starts the project and you run over there and after he goes home at night, you start building on it, he comes back the next day and he goes, what the heck happened here? Well, I thought I'd make it better. Well, you didn't. Why did you hire the home builder in the first place? So don't let these cares and the deceitfulness and these other things of the world enter back in. Once it's out, leave it out. Leave it there. And we go ahead a little bit in Mark 11. And I'm in verse 22, and this is right after the fig tree that Jesus spoke to had dried up from the roots. Verse 22, Jesus answered, saying, have faith in God, for verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he says. They use saith. I try to translate it into says from the King James. Therefore I say unto you, whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe that you receive, and you shall have them. So, this is something huge. It's in our way. You're trying to move forward, and there's the appearance of a mountain. But if you speak unto it with words of faith in your prayer life, Lord, this is my prayer request. I'm casting this care upon you. This is something we need. This is something I desire. This is something I'd like to see. And then once you've done that, once it's been cast into that sea of forgetfulness, leave it there and move forward. Don't take it back and examine it and, there's a deadline coming up. That's just what man has. That's all man has is deadlines. Grab the lifeline. Cast into the sea. Once it's cast in the sea, leave it there. And back in Matthew 11:28, he says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Why? Because you've given it to the Lord. You're letting him carry it. He wants to. He's asking you to let him do for he cares for you. He wants to do the caring for you. You've tried it on your own. It didn't work. You didn't get any results. You keep looking at a mountain of issues and a mountain of what you consider a problem, and you just sit there and you're overwhelmed by it. We'll give it to him. He can take care of it. He'll show you how to get past it. Learn of him. Practice yourself. By how? By casting down those imaginations. It's like a weed. You get that imagination early, it's like a little weed. Oh, I can pull that. I can get that up, no problem. But you wait till it's big and huge and try pulling it up, and you're going to have an issue. It's going to be deeply rooted. That's going to be a stronghold, as Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 10. We'll catch it before it becomes a stronghold, and then keep that garden weed-free. Weed and feed. Get rid of the weed, feed it with the seed, the Word of God. Psalm 55:22. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he will sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Be not moved away from the hope of the gospel. Stand fast. Hold fast your profession of faith without wavering. Stand fast in the liberty with which Christ has made us free. Be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Galatians 5:1 says that. Stand fast. You're in that liberty. Don't be moved away. Don't be tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine or imagination that you've allowed to enter in. Keep that door shut. Close the door. Leave it alone. Let him do the caring. For he cares for you. He wants to care. You want to be able to do all things? Then give him all things. Give him something to work with. And if you like, in your own time, Matthew 6:25 on, Luke 12, in these chapters, talks about the cure for care. The Bible says, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink. Take no thought for tomorrow. But in your own time, go back, look at these chapters. They're very comforting and encouraging because it shows you how to cast your care upon the Lord. It shows you how he can carry that load and how light and easy his burden really is. So let our motto today be, I don't care.